Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you, do you recognize this cute, innocent looking, very colorful child, or should I say young adult? Do you recognize her? She looks like she can be in Teen Vogue. Well, here she's out of her work uniform. It's none other than international tennis star Coco or Coco Gauff, whichever you prefer to call her. I want to feature Coco today because one thing I have noticed in comment sections, whenever her matches are displayed, there seems to be a lot of hate and vitriol thrown at her since she was 15 years old. She's now 16, soon to be 17. But I was wondering, why all the hate for a young lady who's harmless? I've never heard her say anything hateful or controversial. I just see her play a very good game of tennis. So I wanted to step back and examine why people, particularly so many grown men, do not like this child. And this is a child. She's 16 years old. And they have been going at her since she was 15. And I find that to be very disturbing. Just some of the hateful rhetoric and things that have been thrown at her. She just finished the quarterfinals of the Dubai Open, where she lost to Jill Teichmann. It was a very good match. They played 3 times, and I believe Coco is 2-1 now against this particular player. Just a little bit about Coco Gauff for those of you who don't know her. She was born March 13th, or today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Coco. 2004 is an American tennis player. She is the youngest player ranked in the top 100 by the WTA and has a career high ranking of number 38 in the world in singles and number 42 in doubles. Gauff won her WTA singles title at the 2019 Linz Open at the age of 15, making her the youngest singles title holder on the WTA Tour since 2004. She and fellow teenager Katie McNally, Gauff rose to prominence with an upset win over Venus Williams in the opening round at the Wimbledon in 2019. So she's off to a great career. So here she is again, right here. She loves being online, like a lot of teenagers. Away from the professional play of tennis, she's just a regular 16-year-old girl. So I wanted to dig into and look into as to why so many grown men hate this child. And I mentioned that it's very disturbing because, in my opinion, when you start cursing at a child and stalking them like they do online, or many of her matches that come on that YouTube show, it's nothing but a form of online molestation. It really is. If you don't have anything nice to say, why say anything at all? I could never, ever leave hateful rhetoric under someone under the age of 18. I mean, started when they're 15, 16, it's continuing on. You're just leaving very hateful thing towards her. You're stalking her. People don't have better things to do. I mean, is she really that big of a threat? It just shows how insecure they are. But I want you to look at some of what was written under her matches. Okay, she's getting a little too old for the prodigy thing. LOL. Okay, they're jealous. Yep, amen. She's a good player, but not great yet. Okay, well, she's still developing. Anyway, a little old for the prodigy. How old is she? Jesus Christ. Someone at the bottom, they're a little saying now. Are you serious? She's still a kid. Just turning 17. Saturday, wait till she gets 22 or 23. Exactly. Exactly. She's going to get bigger and stronger. The game in tennis today is a lot different. It takes some weight, some strength to return back these serves and shots effectively. Gone are the 14-year-old prodigies who won matches or Grand Slams at around 14 or 15. Those days are long gone. Coco is still growing and getting stronger and getting mentally stronger. Let's move on. Coco's not going to get a title for her 17th birthday this weekend. Well, they're happy she's not. Is she already 17? Then someone goes, okay, she's getting a little old for the prodigy thing. We read that. Okay, she will be 17 tomorrow. God willing, she could win a slam at 17. Are you acting like she is already 17? Haters, please give Coco time. Everyone doesn't have to win a Grand Slam by the age of 17. Are you criticizing Poliskova, who is not 30 and have no GSs? Exactly. Haters, please. She had so many haters, it's pitiful. At this particular age, and it started when she was 15 years old. Let's read some more. Overhyped Gauff bows out cool. See, they're happy with that. Way overhyped. It's worse to be good at her. It won't be good for her mentality as she continues. Actually, her losing is not going to hurt her mentality because many of the people she's losing to are what, 6, 8, 10 years older than her? No, it's not going to bother her mentality at all. What these people are trying to do is that they're trying to get to her. So they're trying to unleash their negativity because they do not want her to be a champion. It bothers them. For some way, they're triggered by that. Someone said, let's see, she's already outlasted all the top 10 players who participated except for Sabalenka, who lost in the same round. Yeah, exactly. So she's doing great. She's beaten Naomi Osaka before. She's beaten Venus, who's a legend. Well, Venus is slowing down, but she has a lot of win over players who are much ranked much higher than her. Okay, somebody wrote down here loser, and on top of that, I don't care about her at all. I'm not supposed to like her, but just because of her age, color, or whatever. Actually, her behavior recently is quite disgusting. Consider that she just those 16-year-old who still I think that means still has time to adjust if she still wants to win. Okay, her behavior at times. She doesn't curse on the field, not the field, the what is that, on the court. She doesn't say obnoxious things. She doesn't really get angry. She says come on a lot, but so does a lot of players. So really, them saying that her disgusting behavior is just an excuse to hate on her. He goes at the green one, the third one down. Thank you, God. I cannot stand her. Can't stand her yelling. Come on, after every single effing point. It's funny how they don't have a problem with a player like Danielle Collins, who continually yells, "Come on," but they have a problem with Coco. And I've watched many of players yell, "Come on," but they have a problem with Coco. So it's this type of stuff right here. Good riddance, Coco. Coco looks tired and ready for bed. Otherwise, I think she has a better game than Teichmann. Coco needs Coca-Cola and send her back to Africa. So we'll stop right there. So believe me, it's worse than that. I did not put anything that where many people called her out of her name using the B word. And if you guys happen to see the B word under her videos or anything like that, please report that particular poster. Report them. So let's get into why people have a problem with Coco. And it is the same reason why they had a problem with Venus and Serena nearly 30 years ago. The elephant in the room is that they have a problem with Coco because she's black. Just like they had a problem with Venus and Serena, and still do, simply because they are black. They give the white girls who constantly says, come on, a pass, and don't say anything about that. I've seen Danielle Collins get very, very obnoxious, arguing on the court, rolling her eyes, puffing and pouting, just extremely obnoxious behavior. But that's a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl who they don't have a problem with. So it's obvious that it's about race. What it is with Coco and what they had with the Williams sisters is that they do not like the fact that a black girl or black girls can rise to the upper echelon of the lily white sport of tennis. That's all. That's what it is. They do not like the fact that their so-called little sacred sport, clubhouse sport, can be dominated by someone who's not Russian, who's not blonde, who's not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, who comes from more like an impoverished or not so uppity rich background, can dominate the sport of tennis. Here's what it is. Venus and Serena will be retiring soon. Let's face it. Serena, to me, doesn't have any more than like 2 more years max left. She really doesn't. Venus is struggling through, since she had Sjogren's syndrome, that's her autoimmune disorder. She's not the player that she was. Venus doesn't bother them. Serena still does. Whenever Serena makes it to a Grand Slam, I just get the feeling that there are all these fingers crossed and hoping that she doesn't break a racist, a homophobia, some fake born-again Christian Margaret Smith Court's record. They would much rather for that racist and homophobia to hold the record as opposed to Serena breaking it. So what they're thinking is that, what they were thinking was that Serena will be gone soon. Venus will be gone soon. Miss Sloane Stephens doesn't bother them anymore because they're thinking that, well, she's a one-hit wonder. She's not going to be a threat to anything. Naomi Osaka, to a lot of people, don't really count because she's a Japanese citizen and she's half black, half Japanese. So all the attention is focused on Coco because they thought that once these black faces are gone, this is before Coco came on the scene now, we can finally get rid of them. But lo and behold, look who showed up and is showing out. And because of that, they are feeling triggered. That's the race part of it. But there is another element that I'm going to bring up. And that element has to do with an interview that Venus gave when she was 14 years old. Let me take you back to memory lane.
Either. I know you. Very confident. Very confident. You see it so easily. Why? Because I believe it. Let me tell you why. What she said it with so much confidence the first time. But you keep on and on. Listen, we can't keep interrupting. I mean, if you want... You got to understand that you're dealing with an image of a 14-year-old child. And this child going to be out there playing with your old ass and he going to be in the grave. When she says something, we done told you what's happening. You deal with a little black kid and let her be a kid. She'll answer it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone. Very confident. You see it so easily.
Now that was the vintage interview with Venus Williams, displaying and expressing her confidence. A white reporter had a problem with it. Richard Williams checked him on that. Righteously so. Very confident young lady. And just like Venus and her father, Coco Gauff is also very confident. Her parents installed in her a lot of confidence. Corey says, I believe I can beat anyone. But I think that's almost every player's mentality. The ones who are the great ones, they don't really fear anyone. You respect your opponent, but you can go into the match. But you can't go into the match fearing someone. Because then you're going to lose. And I don't want to lose. So she's saying she doesn't fear anyone. That's a great mentality. Coco Gauff believes she can break Serena Williams' Grand Slam record. Let's talk about this. That confidence bothers people because many people mistake the confidence for arrogance. And many people have a very difficult time with young black girls being confident. They do not like for you to step out of your lane, so to speak. They feel threatened that you're doing things without their consent, as if you need it. But in this society, some people do feel like, how dare you? How dare you be so confident? Where does it come from? You're not supposed to feel that way. You're not supposed to believe that you can beat our prime athletes. Remember the picture of the 1932 Olympics when Jesse Owens won gold medals? He defeated the Germans. Hitler was there. Hitler thought his Germans were superior. It turned out that they were not. This is very similar. They don't like the fact that she's a very confident young woman. And they are bothered by that. Yes, the race thing and the confidence. And those of you who are not black, just save it. Do not come to my channel telling me as a black man what racism is and what it's not, and that I'm over exaggerating. This is too about race. You can't see it because you're in your bubble world. Black people can see this. We see it for what it is. We know that that is one of the main issues in which they have with her. The fact that she is black. And the fact that she's confident. This is Daniel Collins, who I mentioned before. One of the most obnoxious players on the tour. About 10 years older than Corey. 27 years old, constantly yelling, come on, after many points. Constantly berating umpires, getting into it with lines people. Just extremely obnoxious. She feels very entitled. She's very arrogant. But you don't see the same type of vitriol under her post. You don't hear people complaining about her come-ons. So how dare you get up there and say that it's not about race? if that's what you're thinking. You don't hear anyone telling her to go back to Europe. So that's very much the big problem with Corey. The big problem that people have with Corey. And I'm going to bring up another point too. Remember how Richard interfered with the reporter who was questioning Venus's confidence? I want you to listen to Coco. And you're going to see similarities in her attitude, presentation, mentality.
And yeah, obviously I look up to them. So every time, even just walking by them, I have to remember that even though they're my idols, they're also going to be my opponents sometimes. So I have to remember that too as well. I mean, if I go into a tournament thinking I'll lose, then I'm going to lose. To answer that, I respect everyone's game and I respect my opponent. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to go against them, I can't say, oh, I'm going to lose this match, because that's not the right mentality to have. So, yeah, I believe I can beat everyone. Now, if that happens, I don't know. But I think that's almost every player's mentality, I feel like, or the ones who are the great ones. They don't really fear anyone. They respect your opponent, but you can't go into the match fearing someone, because then you're going to lose, and I don't want to lose. I mean, my mission is to be the greatest. That's my goal, to win as many Grand Slams as possible. But for today, my mission was to win, and I didn't want to let the nerves to come to me. I know I had a couple set points, and she played well, so I knew I had to take it from her. She wasn't going to give it to me. So that was really the mission. I think today has been the best match so far I played this year, and I was a lot more focused. And, yeah, I think today really showed what I worked on in my off-season. I don't know if you guys know there's a new app called TikTok. I'm very active on that, and I procrastinate a lot on that app. I have to do homework. I'm still procrastinating on that. I mean, everyone thinks I'm so serious because of my own court. But really, I'm not. I don't really take life too seriously because, I mean, I just like to have fun. And same with my dad. I know my dad seems like this big intimidating guy, but he's really more the jokester, and he's the reason why we had that altercation on court when I told him not to curse, and that's just how we talk with each other.
So like the parents of Venus and Serena, Coco Gauff's parents installed into her a lot of confidence. Coco's dad told Corey she could be the greatest when she was 8. That is extremely important for a child in and out of tennis. To have self-confidence, to believe in themselves, to believe in their ability, along with the hard work to manifest it. So both of Corey's parents are together. They're not these horrible tennis parents that we hear about that can be very abusive to their children. Corey comes from a traditional 2-parent household, not the stereotypical broken families that's very common in all of American societies. So her parents are there, a positive force, together, cheering their daughter on, which is the way it should be. And I'm sure that kind of bothers people. They would love to see one parent over here, the other over there, broken up. But no, her family is very much intact. So Coco Gauff has a very good foundation. And many people mistake her confidence for arrogance. They may even mistake it for being conceited. But that's not what it's about at all. She should go and be in her. and not having to explain herself to anyone. I'm going to tell you another thing that bothers people about Corey is the fact that she is unapologetically black. There's no ambiguity about her. She's a black girl, two black parents. She stands for black causes and for black people. And when you do that, a lot of times people mistake that for hate. Pro-black is not anti-white, or it's not anti anything other. It's not anti any other people who are not black. Pro-black just simply means that you want the betterment and the advancement for your people. That's all. You want a fair and just society. That's all. But because pro-white means something else, people think that pro-white or pro-black means what pro-white means. Two different things right there. So Corey has taken a stance, and she's with the Black Lives Matter. She supports them. She has said it on a number of occasions. And that bothers people. Because you know how fools can think and believe that, oh my God, if your Black Lives Matter, you're a racist. Or that Black Lives Matter is a racist organization. Which is not the case at all. So I want you to hear a speech, a very moving speech that Corey gave. And she spoke after her grandmother. This was in Florida. But just take a look at this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Coco, and who just spoke was my grandma. And I think it's sad that I'm here protesting the same thing that she did 50 plus years ago. So I'm here to tell you guys this, that we must first love each other no matter what. We must have the tough conversations with my friends. I've been spending all week having tough conversations, trying to educate my non-black friends on how they can help the movement. Second, we need to take action. And yes, we're all here protesting, and I'm not of age to vote, but it's in your hands to vote for my future, for my brother's future, and for your future. So that's one way to make change. Third, you need to use your voice. No matter how big or small your platform is, you need to use your voice. I saw Dr. King quote that said, "The silence of the good people is worse than the brutality of the bad people." So you need to not be silent, because if you are choosing silence, you are choosing the side of the oppressor. So I heard many things this past week, and one of the things I heard is, well, it's not my problem. So this is what I have to tell you this. If you listen to black music, if you like black culture, if you have black friends, then this is your fight too. It's not your job, it's not your duty to open your mouth to say, Lil Uzi Vert's my favorite artist, but I don't care what happened to George Floyd. Now how does that make sense? So I demand change now. And it's sad that it takes another black man's life to be lost for all of this to happen. But we have to understand that this has been going on for years. This is not just about George Floyd. This is about Trayvon Martin. This is about Eric Garner. This is about Breonna Taylor. This is about stuff that's been happening. I was 8 years old when Trayvon Martin was killed. So why am I here at 16 still demanding change? And it breaks my heart. Because I'm fighting for the future for my brothers. I'm fighting for the future for my future kids. I'm fighting for the future for my future grandchildren. So we must change now. And I promise to always use my platform to spread vital information.
And yes, that does bother a lot of people. Because I can remember there was a comment that said after she had lost, now she can go protest again. So that does rub people the wrong way. And the very fact that she's a proud black girl. Here she is with her natural hair. Many black girls on a tour, you won't dare see them with their natural hair. but she's comfortable taking pictures as who she is. She's comfortable taking pictures with the braids on and with her natural hair. So she has a very good foundation as to who she is. And notice too, you don't hear her fawning over someone like a Zac Efron. Or better yet, today's heartthrob would be someone like a Noah Jupe. Maybe that bothers people too. That you don't hear her losing her cool or being all enthralled or being all lovey-dovey with these type of figures here. Because one thing about black girls in a white-dominated society and black girls who are superstars, this goes for black men too, but black superstars, is that they love for you to love white people. So Coco Gauff's presence, her mannerisms, her confidence, her stances that she takes bothers people. I wanted to do a video about this for the longest. Because if you are secure and confident within yourself, there's no reasoning for a 16-year-old girl, now 17, what she's doing on the court, you shouldn't feel threatened by. It shouldn't bother you. It bothers you, and you're triggered by it because there are deeper issues that you're dealing with. People don't really want to admit it. But much of it is about race. And in Coco Gauff's case, by her being a black athlete who wants to use her voice for change and to advance people who are suffering at the hands of police brutality, that bothers people because it's something that people feel very uncomfortable discussing. It's something that they feel very uncomfortable looking within themselves to change that because it takes work. So she's not a typical teen who's into these teen idols. She's into very grown-up adult causes. And I remember when George Floyd was murdered. She was one of the first people to speak up at such a young age, using her voice, using her profile, her image. She spoke up about that. And many non-blacks just want that to be swept under the rug. I mean by just not dealing with that. But that's not who she is. So she's cut from a different cloth. And when you're different, people do have a hard time with that. Many times they like for you to be cakey cutter or cookie cutter. Just the same as someone once told LeBron James, just dribble, play basketball, shut up and dribble. Where many people want Coco to just shut up and play tennis. But that's not who she's about. Because her game is probably better if she were to express herself in social issues. So I would tell Coco, she has the full support of a lot of people. And we appreciate what she's doing. And we want her to continue on with the come-ons, regardless of who it bothers. Because we know why it bothers you. Why you speak up when Coco does it, but not when others do it. And Coco could be around for the next 20 years. You know, tennis players can play way into their 40s now. And she's just a nightmare for many who have that warped type of mentality. But she's a breath of fresh air for us who is looking for the next great champion on and off the court. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you beyond and through.